Dr. Deegan to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Jester?
Here.
Ms. Ronio?
Here.
Ms. John?
Here.
Mr. Sharam? Dr. Schutz? Colonel Waters?
I believe tonight we have a special guest that we want to honor.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored, and as a newcomer to Lawton, this is I had not heard of the McMahon Foundation prior to this, but I want you to know this is kind of a joint effort. But everywhere you go in Lawton, you see McMahon's name, you see the McMahon Foundation represented well in its district. I'm going to go ahead and ask Mr. Kenneth Bridges to come up here, and Mr. Mike Moore. Prior to his leaving, Mr. Barry Beecham sent a letter requesting from the McMahon Foundation 2 additional activity buses to go with the 4 that we had purchased with the sales tax money. And before doing that, Mr. Bridges met with me to make sure that was a request that we wanted to go forward with. And graciously, the McMahon Foundation has chosen to give us 2 brand new buses. The only hard part about this is they're not here yet. And so when we've got 6 buses on the way and you've only got 1, it makes for a lot of consternation for people because everybody wants to get on the bus. But this is the very exact same type of bus that we took our teachers to the state when we watched the state teacher nomination process. And so our teachers and staff are excited. But I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Moore because he has a presentation for you, Mr. Bridges.
Well, I'm not new to Lawton. I've been around a while. I go back long enough that he was an assistant principal at Lawton High when I was a student there. And it was one of my dreaded fears to ever have my name come over the intercom and be requested to go to Mr. Bridges' office. Always very fair, but always very stern when you deserved it. So it's real exciting for me to have an opportunity to make this presentation to Mr. Bridges. We gathered up about 50 young people from our 3 high schools about 3 weeks ago. And we got them in the various uniforms, band uniforms, football, basketball, softball, baseball. And we got them out there in front of Shoemaker with one of our new buses, and we had a picture that was taken. And this is that picture blown up. And it just simply says, "Thank you, McMahon Foundation, for our 2 new buses." And Mr. Bridges, we'd like you to have this. And as you look at those 50 faces right there, and as I showed Dr. Deegan, I will confess, if you look at it, I did sneak my 7-year-old grandson in on the front row. I hope that was okay. But these are representative of the kids that are in there. They are excited about being on these buses. Most all of these kids got on this bus and looked it over real good, took pictures with their phones and everything. So on behalf of these kids and all the others that they represent, I just want to say thank you for what y'all are doing for us, and thank you to the McMahon Foundation.
On behalf of the board of the McMahon Foundation, I would like to thank you for honoring the McMahon family. I think this area was very fortunate that the McMahon family decided to do what they did and leave this foundation that has really been a godsend to our community. And I am also impressed with your athletic director that he never came close to getting in the office. I don't know whether he was afraid of me or he was just smart. I think he's smart. But thank you very much.
And Mr. Bridges, you're welcome.
Very good. Do we have an architect's report tonight?
We do not have an architect's report, but I might give a quick update in lieu of his presence. He did not make it today. He will be at the next board meeting. I was on site this morning. We are a little bit behind because we've run into rock where there wasn't supposed to be rock. Plus, we had 10 days of rain, so we are a few weeks behind, but they assure me there are different stages where they can catch up and double. They're already planning Saturdays. They worked over this weekend, and so they're working hard to catch up. they assure me, I talked to Daryl, the manager, the project manager, he said he has no concerns at all about being on time and meeting all the deadlines, so.
Very good. Departmental report?
No departmental reports today. All right, under the report of the superintendent, we have item A, it's a consideration of action concerning the proposed revisions of policy DPB, substitute teachers. This is from Barbara Ellis. And what we have here is we have simply, state law was updated 2 years ago. And what we have here is we have a conflict where the same item is quoted in 2 different places. So this is a redundancy. And we no longer have to have this language in this section. So it's just basically editing and keeping everything up to date.
Call roll, please.
Dr. Schutz? Ms. John? Ms. Romeo?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
Okay, for item B, we have consideration and action concerning the proposed adoption of policy DAA-E, discrimination complaint form, and this also is from Barbara Ellis. And if you look at this item, this is simply a form for which staff members can lodge a complaint based on discrimination issues.
I've not seen this proposed form before, but I just have a question. Where it's addressed under, at the start, where it's 2, they mention high school principal and middle school principal. Agreements could come from an elementary staff member as easily as it could from a secondary staff member. Should we add elementary school principal there also, or should we just have it go to the Title IX ADA director?
I would think in this case Title IX doesn't relate to elementary students.
No.
So I believe we're okay on this level.
Okay.
I probably should have clarified it was a Title IX issue, so.
That's right, you're right. Yeah, Title IX does not apply to elementary.
How was this form drafted? Was it a copy of another form, or was it?
I'm going to suppose there, but I'm sure it's a boilerplate
Okay.
that we adopted from another
That's
district.
what I'm supposing as well, so.
Yes.
Okay. Move to approve?
Second?
Call roll, please.
Ms. John?
Yes.
Ms. Romeo?
Yes.
Dr. Schutz?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
All right, for item C, we have an information item. It's the 2013 ACT College Readiness Report. And for this section, I'm going to ask Mr. Kyle Smith to come up and present to the board the findings of that report, which we just received recently.
Good evening. The report that you see on pages 6, 7, and 8 of your agenda deals with our ACT college readiness letter that we get every end of August, 1st of September. The high schools received theirs midweek last week, and the district, I think we received ours Monday or Tuesday, so it is fresh off the presses. Information that we're now going through. The high school principals are looking through their ACT results and how we did. As you can see, for our state average ACT scores, Lawton scores at or very near the state average in almost every level: English, math, reading, and science. Our composite score very close, within a tenth of a point of the state average. That's with increasing by percentage the number of students that are taking the ACT in Lawton. We've gone up from roughly 50% of our kids in the last 5 years taking the ACT to last year we had 70% of our kids taking the ACT, and still being able to maintain the levels close or at the state level has been very good. I know our teachers and principals would tell you that turning up the rigor that's in the classroom, especially with our NIMSI grant being implemented at Eisenhower and other 2 high schools over the last 3 years, for Eisenhower 3 years, 2 years for the other 2 high schools, Lawton High, MacArthur, is definitely going to help in our ACT results. We've also implemented programs at the high schools. We have an ACT prep course that they can take for a semester. We've had great support from the community. I know we've had workshops at Bethlehem Baptist Church. Dr. Polk has been instrumental in helping get Chad Cargill to Lawton to help give free workshops for those kids and to prep them for the ACT test. So we have things that we're working on, and we hope to see these scores improve. If you look through there, and I put on the back on page 8 kind of a comparison of the national, what again Oklahoma has, and you know, most of the states west of the Mississippi use the ACT. Most of the states east of the Mississippi use the SAT, and so we're compared to states that may, like Texas, for one, only test about 39% of their kids in ACT, and Oklahoma tests about 80%. And you can see we as a state and a district, perform very well. Most of the kids that take the ACT in Texas are college-bound kids, you know, the best of their students. And so, you know, when you take into consideration some of that, also, we score very well. Oklahoma scores very well on that and in that area. And as you can see, in 2012, at the district, we tested 62% of our graduating seniors on the ACT. Last year, we tested 70. The state average is 80, and we're hoping to move up to that level as we go through the next couple of years and increasing the rigor and encouraging our kids to take the ACT test to get them ready for college. It lists the high school report there. You can see a great jump in the number of kids from Lawton High. They went from 178 to 209 taking the ACT, and you see their test scores improved in most areas, and so that is outstanding results right there. Eisenhower, of course, last year had one of their smallest classes. They had only 176 kids take the ACT, but like I said, it was one of their smaller senior classes at Eisenhower that year. They performed very well, and of course MacArthur's seen an increase too, and that's as we've seen secondary enrollment drop in Lawton. Our enrollment at the secondary level has dropped, but yet we've increased the number of kids taking the ACT despite that over the last couple of years. I didn't have the results. You know, I like to compare things and how we do to other districts, but I didn't have the results for 2013 from the other schools. I did call Altus because I know their principal very well, but they didn't have their results yet, or hadn't opened the letter yet. But some of the things that you see there compared to 2012, Altus, Del City, Midwest City, Carl Albert, some military towns, and we compare very favorably against some of our peers that we have in the surrounding area in that. Is there any questions?
Scores now that the universities are requiring them to get?
You, 24 for the major universities, Oklahoma State, OU, 21 I believe is for Cameron, and then you can get in the regional like Western pretty much with anything on that as long as you've taken the test on that part.
So with our scores, we know our kids can, at least all 70% could get into Cameron almost.
Pretty close to it. You know, that's the composite score of all of our kids. There's sure some that would have to take the test again, but Cameron will tell you our kids perform very well on the ACT and once they get to Cameron on that area. Big push, and of course I have mixed feelings about this, but remediation, and you'll hear me do another report in a couple of months about our remediation at the college level with our seniors. But outside of math, our kids from Lawton are less and less having to take remediation courses in college. Math is still across the nation one of the critical areas that we're struggling with to bring our scores up. But everywhere else you'll see our scores have improved. You'll see our kids are doing well, having to take less and less remediation courses. The other side of it is colleges raise their standards every couple of years. They know that kids are paying for those remediation classes, and so they make money off of that. And so I have a little bit of mixed feelings about colleges and the remediation courses. Some of it is very important. Some of it helps our kids a great deal in performing better in college and getting their degrees. But you will see when I give our report, November, I believe, is when I present that we'll have less and less kids on average having to take remediation courses in college.
You do that composite score, is it based on the child's best score or all the tests
Yes,
that are
they can take
taken?
their best score from each area, math, reading. If they take it 3 times and Reading was the highest on the first time they took it, they get to count that score. If math is the highest on the third time they took it, they get to count that score, and that's for the kids on that. These composite scores for the district are for this year for all the kids that take it. We don't get to do that as a district on that, which would make our composite score go up, but kids get to do that whenever they're enrolling in school.
What strategy did you use to get the number of kids that are taking the test to go up so much?
Of course, you know, we're want our kids to be career ready. We want to make career ready citizens, and a lot of our kids choose to go to college. We want to encourage them. We have had programs such as Gear Up that we've taken kids to college campuses, let them walk through, talk to professors, talk to entrance counselors, and let them get a feel for what the college life is like. We work very closely with Cameron. You know, roughly a quarter of our kids take courses their senior year at Cameron in a concurrent enrollment class. And so introducing them, letting them know that this is an option for them. And this concurrent enrollment is a great option because, you know, we pay for their tuition, and all they have to pay is the fees. And we've had kids, you know, graduate as seniors with enough credits to be classified as sophomores in college. And so that's really spectacular that they'd work that hard. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just punctuate what Mr. Smith said. Texas, about roughly half the students that we test, and we're still right up there within 1/10 of a point. And as a state, we're even with them. So take that, Texas. Item D is an information item. It's 2013-14 District Accreditation Status Report, and this is my report. And if you look on page 9 of your document, the front page is simply a summary. This is the letter that we received in July. And it basically says we have a district accreditation status, accreditation with warning. That means they found discrepancies in the district at various places. At this point, however, each one of the discrepancies have been addressed for this year. And we are, Central Middle School is designated as a focus school for the second year. And this has to do with our testing, our reading scores among our special ed students a year prior. And so we're still working through that process. What that means is we have to allocate a higher percentage of our Title I funds to those students into Central Middle School. Talked to Mr. Lamb in depth about it, and he's confident that will be off at the end of this year. And I might notice on here, if you notice, many of them say waived. That has to do with for 3 years in a row, this will be our third year in a row, the state has waived certain accreditation. So they note it, however, they do not penalize us for it. And anyways, for the very first, any deficiency for the first year, there's no penalty. You get so the first year is always a warning. But all these issues are issues that we're going to find that were waived.
Your later issue. Do we not have them on those sites, or do we not have somebody that's trained to use it on the site? What's the issue with that?
My understanding, we do not have them at those sites.
Okay.
We go to item number 8, which is a consent agenda. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening? Hear a motion? Need a second?
Second?
Call the roll, please.
Ms. John?
Yes.
Dr. Schuh?
Yes.
Ms. Romeo? Yes. Mr. Jester?
Yes. Thank you. Item 9, proposed executive session. I believe we need one this evening.
To propose an executive session?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. John?
Yes.
Ms. Romeo?
Yes.
Dr. Schuh?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.